Expungements. How do you get started on an expungement? Well, the first step is give us a call. What we'll do is we'll run your name, your date of birth, and get a look at your criminal background to make sure you're eligible for an expungement. At that point, once we determine if you're eligible, we'll send you an intake form and get all the information from you that we need to go ahead and get started with that filing. So how long does it take for an expungement? From our end, it's pretty quick. Once we get our intake form from you, we start working right away on getting that expungement form filed with whatever courts it needs to go to. Some of it depends on how many cases you have and in how many counties. So we'll turn that around pretty quickly, get it to you for review. You confirm all the details are correct and get it back to us. We'll get it filed. After that, the state has 30 days to respond to our expungement petition. Now, they can ask for an additional 30-day extension if they need to. So usually, once the court has it, it's between 30 and 60 days before the state has given their response and the court signs off on it. Typically, because we do all the work on the front end to make sure you're eligible, the state doesn't have an objection and the court's able to sign off on that expungement quickly. Now, that could vary depending on if you have more serious charges, but for misdemeanors and level 6 felonies, the process usually takes a few weeks on our end to get it filed and then 30 to 60 days for the court to sign off on it. So the whole thing is typically done within a couple months. It's not immediate, and sometimes people will reach out to us because they have a job interview the next week and they need this off their record. We can turn this around quickly. We have a lot of experience getting these done. We know what we're doing. We can make it happen quickly, but we can't work miracles. And the state does have 30 days to respond. So it's best to be proactive about this. Reach out to us now. Even if there's not something in the immediate future that you need done, it's going to help you in the long run either way. So get it done so that when that important job interview or apartment application comes up, you're able to honestly say, no, I have not been convicted of a crime which has not been expunged, and you're able to do it that day. It's so important to be proactive about it. So when are you eligible for an expungement? That's one of the reasons we want you to give us a call, because we have the experience to look in and see if you're eligible. But a simple timeline is you look at the most serious case you've ever been convicted of and the most recent case you've ever been convicted of. So if you have any felony on your background, it's going to be at least 8 years from the date of your most recent conviction, even if that most recent conviction is a misdemeanor. If you only have misdemeanors on your record, it's 5 years from the date of your most recent conviction. So if you have a felony conviction from 2013 and a misdemeanor conviction from 2017, we're looking at that 8-year timeline. You'd be eligible in 2025. If you only have misdemeanors in 2013 and 2017, you would have been eligible in 2022. Now, if you have a felony that was reduced down to a misdemeanor, that 8-year timeline goes to the 5-year misdemeanor timeline. So it goes back to the date of conviction. So it's treated as if it was a misdemeanor the whole time. So again, we can look into this and make sure you're eligible, but a handy kind of timeline that you can look at is 8 years from your most recent conviction if you have any felony on your record, or 5 years from your most recent conviction if they're all misdemeanors. If you were not convicted of the case and the case has already been closed, thrown out, dismissed, maybe some sort of diversion program, something along those lines, give us a call, because if it's already been adjudicated and ruled dismissed, we may be able to help you immediately. So give us a call now and we can talk about what we can do. What about out-of-state convictions? So sometimes people will call us and say, I have 2 cases from Indiana and a case from Ohio. Can you get them all done? And the answer is no. We can do all the Indiana cases, but we are Indiana attorneys, licensed to practice in Indiana, able to file into courts in Indiana. You would need to find an Ohio attorney or whatever other state it is to help with any other case from another state. And I can't speak to the rules for expungements in other states. Again, I don't practice in other states. Giving advice on that would be practicing law without a license, so I can't do that. But we encourage you, if you do have cases from another state, to reach out to attorneys in those states to see what they can do. So once the expungement is filed, will there be a hearing on it? And the answer to that is it depends. Some of these are non-discretionary, meaning as long as you've qualified, the court has to sign off on it. And we'll let you know if that's the case, because that means the chances of a hearing are greatly reduced. Now, the court can still want a hearing for whatever reason, and we'd have to appear. Usually, there's no issue at all. Now, some expungements are non-discretionary, meaning the court still has a say in whether or not they're going to grant an expungement. And this oftentimes happens for higher level felonies, major felonies, things along those lines. So in that case, you could probably expect the court to want to have a hearing to hear about why you are a good candidate for an expungement. So it's sort of case by case. Most of the time, though, for general expungements, we do not need to have a hearing. So who benefits from an expungement? Really, anyone can. Anyone who might have their background run can benefit from it. Anyone who's looking for a new place to live and might have their background run for that to see if they qualify for rent there, it would help them out. Because if you've had an expungement, in Indiana at least, you can honestly answer on any kind of background check where they ask, have you ever been convicted of a crime which has not been expunged? You can answer no, because you are a protected person. It helps you in so many ways. Housing, employment, licensing, gun rights, things that are so important to people. Oftentimes people want to volunteer for their child's field trip or something, and the school will do a background check, and this helps out with that. So it is a tremendous tool, and we highly encourage everyone who is eligible for an expungement to get an expungement. If you think you may qualify for an expungement, or if you just want to know more about the expungement process, give us a call, 317-632-3642, and we're going to put in the description of this video a quiz to our expungement link. So go ahead and take that quiz to see if you qualify, and we'll be right back with you to let you know if you do qualify for an expungement and what the next steps are. And remember, always plead the fifth.